My presentation is on Marcy Kolbuck's experience with communication. The purpose of the interview was to gather information about the importance of communication in a professional setting/organization. I conducted the interview at a public cafe local to both me and the interviewee. It was around 9 a.m. in the morning. What I did is I took questions and I asked the interviewee one at a time, and I asked follow-up questions to gather more information. I took notes with bullet points, just the key points, and then once they were done answering the question, I would write more detail and then ask them the next question. Why should people care? Communication is very important. It's important in careers specifically. It is a huge factor in having a successful career. Every job that you will have requires communication in some capacity. So a good communicator can unite, build, and teach others and have a successful career. The reason that the position of the interviewee is important is because this position helps support the community. This position raises funds for the local library, it provides knowledge to the staff and the community involved in the library, and it provides resources like computers, books, and things that students need. What we're going to talk about today is who is Marcy Kolbuck, what is her position/organization that we're going to be talking about today, what is the importance of communication within that position, how do these points relate to the textbooks, theories, and information, and then we'll go to a conclusion, final points, and then I'll talk about my sources. Introduction of the interviewee. Who is Marcy Kolbuck? Marcy's position is the president, and the organization that she's the president of is the Friends of the Library. The job description is: the president of the library's duties includes directing board meetings for the staff and volunteers. She also makes sure that the bylaws are followed correctly by all the board members and staff. Managing the bookstore to earn money for the library is also part of the job. Managing scholarship funds that they offer to the community and other events or fundraisers that are run by the president. What is the Friends of the Library? The Friends of the Library is a nonprofit organization, and what they do is they sponsor special programs in cooperation with the library staff. They have been operating for a long time, since 1987. Their goal is to inform the community about library resources and services, and they want the community to appreciate those services and get excited. So they also encourage gifts and bequests in support of the library, like donations, volunteers, things like that. The interview. These are the questions that I asked Marcy to answer to get a better idea of communication in her workplace. So what types of communication is used when addressing members of this organization? The answer is all three: written, verbal, and nonverbal. In the written category, you're going to see emails, texts, papers, agendas, social media posts, and other additional things. You're going to see verbal communication with the in-board meetings, gatherings, events, planning. We also see nonverbal, so hand gestures while talking, work attire, body language. These are all things that are in an organization as a part of communication. What educational background is needed to be the president of the Friends of the Library? Well, the answer is no education is required to become the president of the library. However, Marcy does hold a bachelor's degree in communication from Western Michigan University, which does give her an upper hand in the communication realm, which is what this job is all about. Marcy stated that all you need for the job is good communication skills, and she sure has them. What forms of communication are most effective when assigning responsibilities, addressing issues, and more responsibilities that the president needs to make sure that the staff is doing? Marcy told me that texting is her first resort. It's quick and efficient. She uses it to announce meetings, arrange events, quick messages, check-ins, things of that such. Then emailing is more for professional communication, things that need to be documented and really are important, like voting and election results. Then she has board meetings, which are obviously in person. They're held once a month, and they discuss the agenda, bookstore issues or plans, library reports, finances, and any upcoming events or new fund requests. What is the most difficult part of this position regarding communication? Well, it's the amount of communication methods. Whether it's texting, emails, calls, Facebook messaging, letters, applications, in-person conversations, there is a lot coming in. So all these types of communication are coming all at once, and they can be really overwhelming, they can be really stressful, and it puts a lot of pressure on the president of the library to answer each and every one in a timely manner. While having this quick and efficient communication is wonderful, it does cause a lot of stress because you're answering a lot of people and a lot of different questions all at once. What is the best part of this position regarding communication? Well, Marcy said that it is informing the community. She loves to put out flyers about the events, which is written communication. Information is sent out about resources via email, brochures, bulletin boards, school systems. People have access to the information. Scholarships are awarded to the community via letter, presentation. The president of the library actually presents scholarships at the Romeo School Board, so they do that in person. But people do send in letters to get the scholarship, which is another form of written communication. Again, they have the bulletin boards with the resources outside library sources, so there are people that advertise their businesses or other resources like food drives, things of that such to help the community, and events for the community. What is the importance of communication in this organization? Well, it is very important, again, because it informs the community members of upcoming events like resources, scholarship offers, job openings, bookstore information offers, and a lot more. The library is very involved with the community, so they really want to make sure that the information is out there. The information that is communicated, whether it be written, verbal, or nonverbal, is important because not only does it inform the staff, but it also informs the community. Without communication, this organization would not exist. Communication is the baseline of this organization. I asked Marcy, would this position be possible to have without good communication skills? She said flat out, absolutely not. No, this position is fully reliant on communication. The president has to keep up with staff, community, organize fundraisers, money, all these different things. And without communicating to people and working with people and collaborating with staff members, none of this would go smoothly. The responsibilities of this organization would fall. How does this relate to the text? This relates to the text because being clear when communicating was a large part of the text. The text elaborated on clear and concise communication and how it's important to really be clear about what you need done and what needs to happen. Marcy Colebrook has shared her methods of communication for this organization, and she does every single type of communication. She writes it down, has board meetings in person, so that's that verbal, got that written, and she does nonverbal with attire, hand gestures, all those different types of things, and all those together are clear and concise communication. So it's a large part of being the president of this organization is giving clear instruction. Without that, the responsibilities would get all mixed up and it wouldn't be organized. Marcy uses this method to keep the staff and volunteers on track and give the community proper information. Relating back to the text, also, we can talk about verbal communication. Marcy Colebrook discusses the use of verbal communication within the organization a lot. This is mostly seen within her board meetings, but also at community events and gathering for staff, going to schools and talking about things, scholarships, all things like that. We're talking verbal communication. As discussed in the textbook, verbal communication is vocally spoken words or phrases. So this can be phone calls, this can be voice memos, this can be in-person conversations, Zoom calls, meetings, all different types of things. And this kind of conversation, it helps you understand tone of voice, which is really important in leadership because your staff needs to know what type of emotion you're feeling, how stern the issue is, and what we need to get done. So this communication is definitely helpful for those board meetings, such as the one in this organization. Again, written communication is mentioned in the book, and Marcy definitely displays that. So written communication is a huge part of the Friends of the Library because there's emails, texts, flyers, brochures, bulletin boards, and so much more that allow Marcy to reach the community and staff in an effective and timely manner. Again, going back, Marcy uses text to get quick and efficient conversation between staff members to make sure that things are running smoothly. So this type of communication can be used when distance between the individuals that are communicating are not close. Obviously, if you live somewhere even 5 minutes away, it is a disadvantage. So having access to text, calls, emails to get that quick response and make sure everything's organized and responsibilities are being done is so important. Nonverbal communication is a part of it. I did ask Marcy specifically about nonverbal communication because, it is mixed with the verbal communication within this case. So Marcy uses that nonverbal communication in body language. She uses it in eye contact, posture, in her outfit attire at these board meetings to look professional. All these things they do communicate, and she mixes those with those verbal communication skills. To wrap up, the communication is key to leading, working, collaborating, creativity. Every career is filled with different types of communication, and it is really important to have that skill because it is a very big factor within businesses and organizations. Marcy is just like many others who run an organization, are a part of an organization, or need to communicate and collaborate. It is so important. It is so important to understand communication, understand how to communicate, and communicate effectively. And it really does show in the success of an organization. My sources include the book that we read, The Communications, An Introduction to the Field of Communication, and of course Marcy Kolbuck in-person interview. That is the end of my presentation. I hope that you learned a lot about communication and about Marcy. She definitely has a job that is very high on the communication scale, and it's really important to know those skills, and it was a pleasure talking to her.